here in, and I think perhaps it is even in Nepal program, in Bangladesh one, in Bhutan one, but also members are in China, India, Pakistan. It begins to spread over this region. So, in cooperation, I think also with FAO, this is a little bit the coming down to earth, and I am just going a step further, and I take one example of a village in the Karakorum, and it was made by Professor Winiger from Bonn, working in this area for a long time. He had for the university, an own climatological station network, and so he could see this is the village of Bagrot in the Karakorum arid area. And here we would have the following natural altitudinal belts. It begins here with a hot desert, very dry here, then a dry steppe, and then it goes a little bit to more humidity higher up, then comes a forest, if there is a forest, then the high grassland here, and finally to the Nile, to the cryosphere. And you see, here you have the humidity, the maximum humidity would be about just the upper tree line perhaps, and you see here the temperatures going down with altitude. So, and now comes the settlement here, and the land used with, may it be irrigation land, photographs, orchards, and so on, what is possible with the water here from glaciers, going here, or going in a runoff together with the rain and the precipitation with higher altitudes. So, and then comes here the system of grazing, the summer grazing area, here the wooded area, but strongly reduced, of course, and then the winter grazing area in this part. And now you could also say, perhaps here is the productivity, it could be a fourth off-farm income, remittances, it could be a social network which is contributing, it could be an external support, government or non-government elements coming in, and then you could begin to calculate the potential and the limitations. The potential, is there some land on fluvial terraces and so on that is not yet used? Is there a permanent flow from snow and ice during the year or only seasonal? These are the questions. And also, is this village close to the Karakorum highway? Then it has a market, it can produce. And on the other hand, you have limitations. The limitation is, of course, the water. The water, again, from this side, could it change? Can it also floods? It can be avalanche, hazard, and so on, debris flows. Then are limitations again. Is it isolated? No road, no access, and so on. With a knowledge which is perhaps not precisely here in this village area measured, if we have these strong points in between, it is possible to make estimations. What is the situation of this village? Can it be expanded, survive, and so on? Like that, we can go down also on the level of development, really on the lowest one. I think this would be also an important aim in future of our project. In this sense, I see this scales of research for development and integrated and transboundary approach. You may see this is one farm here in the high mountains, then this other in the middle hills, then you may see here the human impact is absolutely decisive. Is it well, careful, managed? Is it also possible for a vegetation, a biodiversity, and so on? Then you go to a valley system like that. Here is the human impact most important, also to avoid natural catastrophes. Here it is much more difficult because you have the water flow from a whole valley system, and if you go here, then you have here down really collected all these waters, and extreme events must have here certain catastrophic effects. This change from a human-dominated impact to human and nature, and then comes the moment where it is very big here in this sense. I think this means also such a system can no more system, help on the other side, discussion, rescue team, and so on across borders. This is absolutely necessary in future to avoid these disasters. And I think perhaps growing up becomes much more a national task, becomes much more a local task. Like that, you have an interaction on these different scales of research and development, but they are connected. There is an interconnection. And with that, I'm coming back to this last point, and again on the beginning of the whole thing. I think it is now really very important if this conference here finds solutions for transboundary cooperation, and that the scientific community and the political community at least try and have a certain pressure on these decision-making institutions to say we need a change, we need a representation of this big mountain system, and as it was said, 2010 is the International Year of Biodiversity. It would be wonderful if here in 2 years we would have a proposal which is accepted by all the 8 ICIMOD regional countries for cooperation and for a program for biodiversity, and of course is included then a better knowledge or an equipment with climate and hydrology and soils and so on